This week, we're going to be talking about September 11th through the 17th. The new moon in Virgo is bringing about an opportunity for you to set your intentions, to cleanse your body, and organize your daily routine in order to find a more efficient flow to life. It is this flow which will support you in being of greater service to others. Mercury retrograde ends, but be mindful that the planet of the mind will still be stagnant from September 11th through the 19th, so continue to move forward with a measured pace, one that accounts for all of the details.
The weekly transit.
Astrology is a language that communicates how the planets and stars influence life on Earth. I'm Scott Tajarian. I'm an interpreter of this language. Join me and my co-host Ingrid Iverson, who helps bring an even more practical look at this astral language. The weekly transit is here to bring clarity to the chaos, so you can ride the planetary waves instead of the planets riding you.
The weekly transit.
What is up, Ingrid?
Oh my gosh, it's been a morning.
Yeah.
or I guess the last few days culminated into this morning.
Yeah.
Before I even start on a rant of life, do you want to give us a little overview of last week and then?
Yeah. So, last week last week was the week we were talking about. It was kind of a muddy week. Every planet that we were looking at, except for the moon in Cancer, every other planet was in an earth sign. So last week, I don't know, I'm curious to know how people felt. In terms of the astrology, just looked like a week that was about grounding in and restructuring and really sort of digging into your reality. But also, being nurturing and kind and caring with the moon in Cancer. So, but it was all Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, achievement, values, organization, functionality.
Oh, yes.
Efficiency.
I mean, I guess thinking back to last week, I was going around trying to shop the book to places, making little spreadsheets, sending out emails, kind of thinking about my future and what I want my future to look like and how I can maybe let go of some insecurities and you really put myself out there. I made a LinkedIn, which I think I need to redo, possibly doing more audio editing or video editing for podcasts, making little social media, whatever, banners and maybe that kind of stuff, some production stuff, and, thinking about what my day-to-day, what I would like my day-to-day to actually look like.
That's what Virgo season is all about. It's about your day-to-day. It's what do you do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep? What are you putting into your body? What are you putting into your mind? What are you putting into your body and how is it affecting your mind? What are you putting into your mind and how is it affecting your body? It's about eliminating areas of your life, whether it be through diet or any sort of maybe bad habits that you've picked up over time that you're like, I do this every day. Do I really need to do this? It's like we were talking we've talked the last couple of weeks about this woman, Mary, who Gabrielle and I talked to so she's like a medical intuitive and talking about cleansing and it's with the amount of like work that you have to do to like prepare foods, it takes up a lot of time. And Gabriella was like, well, who has the time for this? And I started thinking about it though. And I was like, okay, so let's say you sleep 8 hours in a 24-hour period, you sleep 8. So that means that there's, let's say 16 waking hours. If you're supposed to, like in a normal work week, you work 8 hours, that means that you sleep 8 hours, you work 8 hours during a 24-hour period, and that means you have another 8 hours to do whatever it is you need to do.
Oh my God, I'm feeling so underutilized right now. 8 hours.
And you know what the thing is though? because I'm like, if you don't have 8 hours to cook food, and you know why we don't? Because like if you go back before the TV, like people weren't entertaining themselves for
Oh, at all,
hours
at
upon
all,
hours a
really.
day. Exactly.
There's
Like
a board
maybe
game or
maybe
a
you, yeah, a board game, or you someone tells a story, or you pick up an instrument and you have like a sing along, at your
reread.
house, you read. Yeah, exactly. But you're not doing that for 8 hours. When you think about today, in today's world, like it's no thought to just sit down and binge watch a show for 8 hours or play a video game for 8 hours. That's without a thought. You
Yeah, and I'm like,
totally
you could
do that.
easily do that for 3 or 4 hours and it wouldn't even be like a binge. It's like, oh, 3 hours of entertainment for the
Yeah,
day. And then it's like, okay, well,
exactly.
now you only have 5 hours. And then you have to, 1 or 2 of those hours maybe is commuting to work. And then,
Mm-hmm.
going to the grocery store and back is one of the hours. And then, you made like a phone call or something or had a doctor's appointment. Now you only have 2 hours left. And it's like, if you're not efficient with those last 2 hours, you're not going to have time to cook.
Totally. Totally. So this is all about finding the efficiency. Like literally like track your time. Like what are you doing from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep?
I mean, in my past, I have made time. It was so important to me to cook all of my meals. It was never a question of time. I did it every time. It wasn't a question, it was just part of my day. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to make time for it. But this is, I mean, 20 years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I'm like, there wasn't, I mean, we had cell phones, but we didn't use them for entertainment. They were
Mm-hmm.
for phone calls. There were no apps. There was GPS and there was texting and calling, and like maybe some shitty ass pictures. There wasn't anything interesting on there. And I never had an issue with cooking for myself. And then I had a partner for years and I always made time. We cooked all of our meals until pretty recently. I think the issue for me is finding the motivation and focusing on like the values because I'll fill my time with other things and excuses and then be not feeling good. And I mean, the truth is, I do have the time. Like, we all have the time. It's just how we utilize our time. Are we being efficient? Are we being mindful about where we spend it? Because
So you keep you
Instagram is like, that will suck.
yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't really have an issue with alcohol anymore, or weed, or like anything in my life. The thing that takes sucks the most amount of time is my phone. And it's like
Mm-hmm. The phone.
embarrassing. I'm
The
like, it's
phone.
almost like healthier to have an alcohol addiction because you're probably actually being social and interacting with human beings. It's just like,
Yeah.
what's going on right now? Like this being able, I was really trying to think like, do I just like delete this app? Like I like using it for connecting. There is uses. Like I don't binge YouTube. I go and I respond to comments and I like reading what people are saying. Like sometimes I'll watch something on there, but it's very kind of few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that social aspect, but I'm like, I need to do something different because
Yeah.
yeah, I want to have time to cook. I want to cook all my meals. Like it's nice to go out to eat, but I make good shit here and even just like it makes me feel more motivated to cook for my friends and
Mm.
like community stuff. So, finding the motivation even for myself, like when I make food and bring it to work, my whole day is better when I get to
Mm-hmm.
eat a home cooked meal.
Yes. Well, you keep bringing up time, and it makes me think about last week we talked about Pluto in a couple of the days.
On Saturn?
Pluto, no, well, Pluto, because Pluto is transiting through Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the god of wealth and time. Pluto transiting through Capricorn, in a sense, is challenging us to be the masters of our time.
It's there's even like podcasts. It's like the 15-minute Jim Quick. I think he does 15-minute podcasts and his stuff is like all about these little hacks, like these super simple like things you can incorporate, but I think all of his stuff is like being efficient with your time or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Cuz
Mm-hmm.
it's like we all have the same, I mean within reason. We all have kind of like a similar resources or similar days, how many hours we work, how many hours like it takes us mostly the same amount of time to do the things. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
have we been taught? Probably not. So we have to teach ourselves like all the tips and tricks on how to live efficiently so we can eat.
And I think that's just the big theme. from now all the way through to January 20th when Pluto transits into Aquarius is how can you become the master of your time?
I like that. I really like that
What are you
statement.
doing to become the master of your time? What do you need to transform in your life to become the master of your time?
So my issue that I was having this morning, I think, comes from is coming from not being efficient and procrastinating and putting things off. Like I
Mm-hmm.
had this hit and run. Someone hit my car while it was parked. They drove off. I got an estimate. I had I have not gotten it fixed. They send you a
Mm-hmm.
check and it's like, okay, well, I'll get it fixed when I have time. And I haven't had time to go get the rental car, then pay for a rental. Just all the stuff just felt like, okay, I don't really have the energy and time to set aside for it. And
Mm.
then this little crack in my tire has now started leaking. And then so it was the last couple of days of it leaking and putting the air and leaking and then putting the air because I didn't want to make the time to fix it. And
Yeah.
then I get to work in the middle of the night in a shitty area of LA. And then it's flat in the middle of the night. So then I have to drive on my flat tire to the gas station in a shit area because I
Mm.
was not, because I was putting it off saying I didn't have time.
Yep.
Then one of the girls at work brought me a little generator. And so then the next day I forgot that even happened because I was so tired. And then I had to do the same thing all over again. I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. So this morning I had to do the same thing again because it was late at night. And so I just went and got my tire done. And I was like, oh my God, I was on the phone with the insurance being like, well, is it going to cover it? Because you're supposed to like certain things, they have to take your car apart to
So
see.
it's all about priorities. It's all about priorities.
And it was a lesson. It was a lesson to be like, you're going to have to put in the time regardless. The time's not going anywhere. You're still going to have to
Mhm.
take your car in. It's still going to cost
Yes.
the same amount of money, but now the procrastination has wasted more time by going back and forth to the gas station and getting air and stressing out and having a
And you
panic.
know this, Ingrid, this is like we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde. So of course, like issues with travel and commutes, this is like when you need to be making sure that your car is like during
Working.
Mercury retrograde, you have to make sure that your car is doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You don't want to put things off with regards to your car until during the retrograde. That's where the priorities.
Yeah. I even like I called the insurance to ask some questions and this super sweet lady was like, kind of called me out and she's like, I don't mean to make it worse, but you just got to get things fixed right away. She's like, put it on your credit card because it's going to be the same amount of money now or later. And now
Mm-hmm.
you're causing yourself a big ass headache. Like it's
Yeah.
stressful. Like it is stressful, but prioritizing your time because now I've wasted, and I was on the phone for an hour today.
Totally.
So
Totally.
yeah,
Well, the energy starts to shift this week.
before we get into the week,
Yeah, yeah.
if you're a new listener, the best way to follow along with the podcast is to go buy our book, The Basics of Astrology. It's in the show notes. It's on Amazon. We have a paperback version. We have an ebook. It's just a glossary of all the terms that we talk about here, the astrological language that we use. If you're watching us on YouTube or on Spotify, the images come across the screen, and you can also follow along at theweeklytransit.com. If you go to the forecast, there's an overview of what we talk about each day of the week, the visuals that we look at, as well as journal prompts that Scott asks me on here. And if you'd like to support the podcast, if you go to the show notes, there's a support link. You can donate $1, $5, or $10. If we're helping you navigate life more gracefully, send us a little treat. It would be greatly appreciated. You can send us a super thanks on YouTube. I think it's $2 or $5. I don't know how that works yet, but we've been working on monetizing our YouTube channel. I think we're 4 subscribers away.
No, we actually made it to 1,000.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, we're at
Thank you
1,000 now.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Apparently that means we can get like commercial spots now.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. I'm working at setting that up.
Well, thank you everyone who subscribed to the YouTube channel. And yeah,
Mhm.
send us some treats. We appreciate you. Or if you don't have money or you want to support in other ways, you can buy the book, you can write us a review, you can share us with your friends.
So I want to thank our sponsors for the podcast from Spotify, the people that are sponsoring. And as Ingrid said, you can go to Spotify and and support us with a monthly donation of $1, $5, or $10. But I want to thank Nicole, Brenna, Kendra, Jasmine, Janelle, Vincent and Michelle, Clarissa, Aline, Cassie, Merdinas, Brooke, Ricky, Amaranth, Annie, Deborah, Haley, and Carrie.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for supporting the podcast. It allows us to spend more time doing what we love, sharing the planets and stars with you.
Yes. Yes. So I wanted to also mention a couple announcements. Like I talked about this book that I edited. I'm the astrological editor of Virgo, the 12 Pointed Star Saga. This is book one. It's a 12 book series by T.E. Tran. I'm just bringing it up because like it blows my mind here. This is like number
No
2
way,
in teen
Scott.
and adult young adult apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic ebooks. Number 2.
This is
Number 4,
cool.
teen and young adult visionary and metaphysical fiction ebooks. And then number 11 in teen and young adult myth and legend ebooks. I mean, that's amazing. So if you haven't already purchased this book, or you can download it for free if you're a part of Kindle Unlimited, do so. I mean, I'm wondering if like, is it because people are listening to this show, like everybody went out and downloaded this book, or it's just going viral on Amazon
That's
for some
so
reason. So, but
cool.
I'm really excited for T.E. Tran. Yes.
I'm gonna
It's a
download it.
fun read. It's a fun
Yay.
read.
I was waiting
So
because it was like a pre-order for a minute. Now it's
yes,
out. It's
and it's
live.
live. It's
Yeah,
live.
they consulted Scott for editing, making sure all of the
Yeah.
characters and the signs made sense in the book.
Yes, exactly.
That's
There's a
a big
lot of talk of
deal.
astrology, and the author T.E. Tran, she is not an astrologer, but she's into astrology, and so she hired me on to make sure that it made sense in terms of the astrology. So I've read through 3 books so far, and I'm waiting for her to send me more. So I've read 3 of the 12. So I'm very excited for her. And also the moon cycle classes are coming up this week, because this week we're talking about the new moon in Virgo. This is the week of September 11th through the 17th. But before we get to the new moon in Virgo, we've got this alignment here with the moon, the planet of emotions, conjunct Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, the planet of relationships, together in the fixed fire sign symbolized by the lion, Leo. So this is kind of like a new moon in a sense, because it's a new cycle for the moon crossing Venus. When a new moon happens, it's the moon conjunct the sun, but this is the moon conjunct Venus. So we've got a fire sign this week. Last week was all earth and water. This week we've got a fire sign. This is about opening your heart, connecting to your emotions in your close personal relationships. Venus is now direct. So the last couple times the moon has done this sort of new cycle with Venus, Venus was retrograde. So hopefully everything that you've experienced through this Venus retrograde has taught you a lot about yourself and a lot about who you are as a partner, so that you can truly be bold in the expression of your love. I will tell you, I had some very bold moments in my relationships with the expression of my heart, so it's it's been a challenge, but it's so rewarding when you roar like the lion and let those
Can you tell us more? What does that mean?
I can't get too detailed
Yeah.
into it, but but it's all positive. And it just things got to a point where I had to lay things down the way that I felt about certain things.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
opening
Yeah,
and being exposed to like
totally.
rejection, or like someone's not open to what you're putting out there, or any sort of
Exactly.
change you want to make. It can be
Exactly.
scary. And so it's all about that
Yes,
courage.
exactly. That rejection, that fear that, well, this is how I really feel about things. But if I say these things, then my partner's not going to want to be with me anymore.
Yeah.
They're going to leave me, So you kind of have to get to that point where you're just like, okay, well, if that's what happens, that's what happens. But
Yeah.
I have to be heard. I have to, what I'm feeling has to be felt
Yeah.
by the ones that I love the most.
And then when we do that, it's either the people that are not in alignment will fall away, or if they are open to it, then it's like our heart opens, then it opens even more for being accepted, and for compromising, or whatever the situation might entail, where they're willing to listen to what you have to say and
Yes.
not reject you, and figure out a way
Yes.
to make things work or make things change. Like, but we're never going to get what we want if we don't put what we want out there. Then we're just going to be closing our heart forever, like we start
Mm-mm.
hiding.
The best feeling is opening your heart, saying everything that you need to say that has been weighing heavily on your heart, and then have your partner say, I'm with you. Okay. There's nothing better than that.
It's
But
true.
this is how you build strength from your heart.
Resiliency. Hmm.
Yes.
And the more
Strength.
you, it's always going to be uncomfortable, but the more that you do it, just like it's literally just like working out. It's like, okay, if you work out once a year and you go to like a rafting thing or a marathon, you're going to be crushed. It's going to be so hard. You're going to be dying. But
Oh,
if
what?
you're
A
I,
rafting?
I don't know where that came from. I have no idea. I've never been rafting in my life.
A rafting fair or a marathon?
A marathon, a marathon.
Or a rafting fair.
Okay, guys, I've not had enough sleep. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, a marathon. I'm just losing it. Uh, yeah, just if you work out just once a year, it's gonna be so uncomfortable in those moments.
Totally.
But if it's like you're doing it once a week, it's gonna be so much easier when there's like a big thing to do. Or if you're doing it every day, you don't even think about it. It's hard every time. I go to the gym 3 times a week. I go to work 3 days a week. It's all very physical. It's always hard. You're always sweating. You're almost
Mhm.
always sore, but it's never going to be like the beginning. You're like, oh, I'm more resilient, so I can take more now. I can go to an extra dance class. I can go to work and I can go to strength training in the same day. Like, I am able to do more. If I
Yes.
was only doing it once in a while at the beginning, I'd be like, oh, I can't even go to work after this. There's no way. I can't
Mm-hmm.
move. But so
Mm-hmm.
it's like the more you open your heart, it's like, oh, it's so hard and it's so scary. But it's like you're doing it all the time. You're like, it's going to be uncomfy. It's going to be fine. I'm going to recover. The
Mm-hmm.
recovery time is also going to be shorter and shorter. You're not going to be crushed for weeks and months if something doesn't go the way you want it. Someone doesn't receive it right. You're going to be like, okay, well, not everybody is going to accept me, and that's okay. You got to
It's a
keep opening it and keep
yes.
opening it, and then you're able to just get what you want more because you're being your true, authentic self.
Yes. It is a workout for your heart.
Oh, I
A
love
workout
that.
for your heart. Yes. Okay, moving on to Tuesday, September 12th. The moon, again in Leo, now squares off with Uranus. The
Oh boy.
primordial sky god symbolized, or primordial sky god, the planet of revolution, rebellion, innovation, independence, and the unexpected, in the fixed earth sign symbolized by the bull, Taurus. So Uranus squaring off with the moon. This is that shock to your heart.
Yeah.
I think of that Bon Jovi song, Shock to the Heart. And you're to something. You
Yeah.
give love a bad name. Okay, so this is
He said, okay. Okay. Moving on.
back on track. So, it's a shock to the heart, because what's happening is you're opening your heart here and you're saying, this is what I want, this is what I demand. And then your physical reality says, no, that's not possible.
We don't like that. We don't
So,
like change. It's scary and uncomfy.
well, there could be like some changes that are happening to awaken your heart,
Mm.
that maybe the changes that are happening are uncomfortable, and it's
Mhm.
not the changes that you want to happen, but it's the changes that are happening to you. It could be either way.
Yeah.
but something is happening that is stimulating your heart to wake it up, to say, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I can give in return.
Well,
These
maybe
are my
like
values.
yesterday's alignment was like more your partner, and your partner was like, oh, this is what I need. And then now today you're like, oh, fuck. We gotta change all these things. You're like responding to the person who is saying, I need something different, or like
Exactly.
opening their heart. So, like, we're all feeling all of these things at the same time. So, we never know
Yes.
who's going to be on like the
On the
giving and
receiving
receiving.
end or the giving it. Yes,
Yeah. So,
exactly.
it helps
Yeah.
you. I mean, just the alignments help you to be more compassionate. So, understanding if someone's putting themselves out there to open their heart to you, be compassionate. You can still like say no to whatever the thing is, but be compassionate and understanding that it is very difficult to open your heart.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Okay, moving on to
Oh boy.
Wednesday.
Each day just seems like a little more uncomfy.
Yeah, this looks uncomfy to you.
It does. I mean,
Wednesday, September 13th, it's the moon transits into Virgo, the mutable earth sign symbolized by the Virgin, and the moon is conjunct Mercury, retrograde, the messenger of the gods, guide of souls to the underworld, the planet of consciousness, communication, coordination, and the planetary ruler of Virgo, the same degree as the moon, 8 degrees in Virgo. This is where Mercury's retrograde transit will end. Mercury, by the way, is at 8 degrees from September 11th to September 19th. So it's an extended period at this degree where Mercury retrograde is ending, but it's connecting the emotions to the mind. The emotions to the mind.
I mean, I think it's just
What you're feeling, what you're thinking.
well, you're like picking it apart. Whatever's been happening the last couple days, you're just like you're really aware of it, and just like the cleaning house thing from the last couple of weeks, like clearing shit out that doesn't work. Like, I mean, I guess it is a good thing, but just sitting with it and like doing the work of deciding what's working, what's not working can be very confronting. And you can, I guess, just being again compassionate that, sometimes it takes some sort of upset over the last few days to be like, okay, this is what we need to do to move forward. Here's the list of things that we need to clear out so we can collect ourselves and move forward.
Yeah, it's about elimination. Like we opened our hearts on Monday, Tuesday, and then we've collected everything that we need to eliminate. We realize these are the areas that are not working, so we need to remove these areas from our life so that it can be more streamlined.
I mean, I get it is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yes. I mean, I can see why you would say that it looks harsh, because it's that Virgo energy. And when the moon is in radical, it's work. It's very analytical, very critical. Yeah. And so, you just want to take it easy on yourself emotionally. Take it easy on the people that you share your emotions with as well. Try not to be so hard on each other.
I like that.
Yes. I also had another announcement that I forgot, just like kind of an interlude here. I forgot to mention earlier, but maybe you've seen on our YouTube channel, I started posting other videos. I'm doing like the sports and astrology segment with Samantha Dotton, who is a listener of our show and a client and a friend. And she came to me wanting to do sports and astrology.
Oh my gosh, this is right up your alley, dude. That's cool. I mean, I have nothing to contribute to this, but like, I feel like this is just something that couldn't be more perfect. Like, even you always have like such a great sports reference. And that's so fun to be able to, and it's also part of like pop culture, which you also are very keen on.
Exactly.
That's great.
If you're listening and you have a partner, a boyfriend, a lover, a husband who doesn't care about astrology, but is interested in sports, and maybe you don't really care about sports, but you love astrology, this might be the bridge that
I love this.
Brings you together, where you can watch, Sam and I talk about sports and astrology, and you can learn about sports, and your significant other can learn about astrology. So I'm basically just like going over charts
This is
and
some fresh shit right here.
but that's what we're doing. Astrology and sports, like a weekly transit segment of astrology and sports.
Yay. I'm excited.
Thank you, Ingrid. Appreciate your support. Okay, moving on to Thursday, September 14th. This is the new moon in Virgo. And of course, if you want to learn how the next lunar cycle will be affecting you directly, then I encourage you to go to theweeklytransit.com and enroll in the moon cycle classes, where we will be discussing the next lunar cycle after this one, which will be the new moon in Libra and the full moon in Taurus. But this is the new moon in Virgo.
Ew.
And so it's the new lunar cycle
I love new
beginning here in
moons.
Virgo at 21 degrees. This is a new beginning. And when you think of like the heart opening and creating that efficiency and eliminating things from your daily life that are creating that clunkiness and impeding your flow, this is an opportunity for you to set your intentions to cleanse your body and organize your daily routine in order to find a more efficient flow in life. And it is this flow which will support you in being of greater service to others, because Virgo is the Virgin, and the Virgin is Mother Teresa. She wasn't a hot mess. She was very organized and efficient, and that's why she was able to be of service to the people of Calcutta. She wasn't sitting back on her IG all day doing selfies. She was about being of service.
God, are you calling me out right now?
No, because you don't even do this. You don't do the
No.
selfies. You're just
Yeah.
on the IG.
Yeah.
You're observing other people.
Mhm.
So you're creeping in. So, I really like this new moon, because I feel like it sets you up. This is like setting us up.
Well,
we kind of talked about it last
Yeah.
week, or maybe the week before,
Yeah, we
about
did
how
last week.
the end of the calendar year, and then thinking about the end of the astrological year, which isn't until March. But this
is also about managing our time, like what we were talking about
Mhm.
earlier. Like if we
Mhm.
plan now for the end of the year and we structure it and we make our lists, when we get to the end of the calendar year, the end of the astrological year, we're going to have all the things done that we wish we would have. Instead of having a regret, we're like, wow, we finished the year strong. We got all the things on the list done. It's so easy to lose steam. And I think
Yes.
astrology is such a great way to have constant reminders, a goal setting, a check-in. It's like it doesn't even need to be about astrology. If people don't like astrology, it's like, okay, we're setting our goals once a month and then we're
Yeah,
checking in.
exactly.
Who's not going to be successful from that? A focused intention setting, I think it's just brilliant. I think it's just the flow of it's perfect.
Yes. So think about make your list. Now's the time to make your list of what are the things on your list that you want to cross off by the end of the year, within the next 30 days.
I just literally, I've been making lists again. I feel like I go through phases, and I was, reminded of the organization of Virgo season, and I just saved something on Instagram. Don't get mad at me. On Instagram, of how someone else makes their lists and categorizes them in levels of importance in different areas of their life. And I was like, okay, that's what I want to do, because sometimes it gets all jumbled together. I'm like, okay, this is my house list. This is my personal list. Like, I want to come see you. We're going to do lunch. I want to go meet this, maintain this friendship that I met someone. I'm like, oh, I want to make that connection. And if it's not on my list, it's not going to happen. So
exactly.
Maintaining my home, my car, my friendships, all the different areas and level of importance, my car, top of the list, maybe meeting for coffee with a friend, maybe somewhere on the bottom of the list, just remembering to schedule those things. But I just thought that was a really fun and extra efficient way of looking at life, just to break everything down into smaller parts.
Yes, that's it. Breaking into those smaller parts so that it's more manageable. It's digestible. Your Virgo rules the intestines. The intestines are digesting the food, right? So we want to make life manageable. through this period so that moving in the months ahead, things are happening in a way that you want them to happen.
You had that example of one affecting the other earlier. What
One
you're putting in your
affecting the
body is
other.
affecting your mind.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
And
yes,
then you just
yes.
said digestion, and it's like, okay, you can literally give yourself a stomach ache from having,
Indigestion. Yeah.
yeah, from having a panic because you're running late, you're not the meeting, the something, you're missing something, you forgot something at home. Like that can literally give you a stomach ache because you're not being organized. Or
Mm-hmm.
at least for me personally, it can definitely like literally
Yes.
make me feel sick.
Well, you're a Cancer moon, so totally. Yeah. Your stomach is a big thing.
Yeah, so when I feel
Absolutely.
settled in my nervous system, I'm organized, it makes my whole being feels different. My mind is working better. My literally my digestion, everything in and out of my body is working more efficiently when I
Mm-hmm.
am doing all the things that are on my list and being mindful about how I spend my time.
Yes. Yes. Being mindful. That's what this is about. The new moon in Virgo. And then moving on to Friday, September 15th, we've got the sun again in Virgo, now forming that positive trine with Uranus in Taurus, and then Mercury all by itself, because today Mercury retrograde is over. Hooray! Like I said, Mercury
Yay!
Mercury is stuck in the sky from September 11th to the 19th. So it's not moving. So yes, we can celebrate it's over, but it's not over because it's still rolling through, or not rolling through at all. It's still stagnant. So we just want to temper the way that we're moving forward. And that's good because as we're making these adjustments and these shifts, and we're writing things down on our list and breaking things down and figuring out how to get from point A to point B. I love this alignment here with the sun in Virgo aligning with Uranus, because that's that same point that was being squared on Tuesday by the moon. So it's like Tuesday, things kind of got jumbled up or broken up in a way in order to wake up our heart. And now on Friday, we're finding the efficiency in our life to create the structure within our reality so that our heart's desire is realized in reality.
It's like now you are making the change and that feels exciting. You're like, oh, actually, I have an idea. I know what to do. I am recognizing it in my conscious mind, that Mercury energy in your mind being like, oh, I'm aware and I can do something about it. I'm going to make the change that's going to affect my life in a material way. And that's exciting. That feels
Yes.
great to find a solution to your problem.
Yes. It's like today the idea is coming to fruition. Also, just remember, so Mercury is in its retrograde shadow until September 29th.
Okay.
So by the time we get to the end of this month, things will start be flowing again, but you need this time to sort of catch up, get organized, because once we get to October, November, December, and especially January, things are going to be moving really quickly. All these planets that are retrograde right now are not going to be retrograde in January.
Okay. So we
So
got to learn our lessons.
you don't want to miss the bus. You know what I mean? Like the ship is taking off in January. So what are you working on right now that is going to support you to take off and fly in January? These are the steps. So don't get anxious about, oh, when's Mercury retrograde gonna be over? Okay, it's over, but it's still stagnant.
Take
and you
advantage
still
of
have
that
work
slow.
to do. Yes.
Slow down.
Take advantage of your time right now. Again, time, such a theme. Saturday, September 16th, we're talking about Venus in Leo. Again, now forms a square with Jupiter, the god of thunder, lord of justice, the planet of luck and expansion in Taurus. So Venus squaring Jupiter in Taurus. This is a familiar alignment because let's look back, Ingrid. So Venus is squaring Jupiter and Taurus from September 14th to the 18th. It kind of reaches its apex right now. But Venus, when Venus was retrograde and Jupiter was not retrograde, Jupiter was direct, they formed a square from August 20th to the 24th. And then before that, when Venus and Jupiter were both direct, they formed a square with each other, Venus in Leo, Jupiter in Taurus. That was at 5 degrees back on June 9th to the 12th. They were at 15 degrees where they are right now from August 20th to the 24th. Now they're back here again from the 14th to the 18th. This is expansion in relationships. And this is similar to what we were talking about earlier with opening your heart and stretching your reality. Jupiter is really pushing our reality right now, transiting through Taurus. It's pressing our limitations forward in terms of how you're making money, what you're spending money on. If you're feeling strained financially in some way, it could be Jupiter, but this is about really discerning what it is you value and then connecting that to your relationships and what you truly want from your close personal relationships. Are the people that you're in relationship with, that you're sharing your heart with, do they honor, reflect, or respect your values? If they don't, then there may be some tension here because you're being pushed, you're pushing them, or maybe they're pushing you in some way. Are you, like you were saying earlier, am I on the receiving end, or am I the one that's giving the energy to someone else?
Expansion in our material, it can be scary. It's like it can be like maybe leaning into, like it can be uncomfortable, but maybe leaning into the excitement part of it when things are changing. It can feel weird and icky and like, or maybe it's just, maybe you think you're not going to succeed in your future or something. There's like fear attached to it. And maybe your partner is feeding into that fear in some way, or they're not believing in you. And so that's making you close your heart. Like they're putting their insecurities onto you. So I don't know, just maybe being mindful of, are the people in your life being supportive of your future dreams that you have? Because we need people who are cheering us on. We need more cheerleaders because that's so important.
Yes, exactly. Who's supporting you? Who's supporting you? Who's fueling the energy of your heart? And are you feeling the energy of their heart? Are you shining your light and sharing your warmth?
Or what if, okay, I feel like this is kind of what I'm going through maybe. Like I have a fear of, I guess, being rejected in terms of like looking for jobs, and like my friend keeps like encouraging me. He's like, make a LinkedIn, do all these things. Like you have so many skills, you will be successful. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm so scared to like apply for something like a new club, any sort of creative job for like the podcast world or like production. And he's like, you have all the skills, like it's fine, it's not that big of a deal to be rejected. Like you're gonna get a job eventually, but you're not applying for anything. Like believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And he's calling me out for being scared.
Yes.
And I'm just like, okay, you're right. Like I need to be my own cheerleader. I need to believe in myself. Like I need to imagine my future. What do I want that to look like? What do I want my day to look like, my life to look like? When I wake up, like what am I doing with my day? And
stop reacting and you need to be acting. When you don't fill up your tire, you don't get your tire fixed for several days and you're constantly filling it up over and over again, you're just reacting. You're not acting. You need to act. You need to act. I mean, and think about Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of faith, and it's testing the faith of your heart, which is that Leo energy, and testing the faith that you have in your reality, the faith that you have in your relationships. That's what this alignment is. This is something that we've been feeling this to varying degrees all the way since June. So June, July, August, September, this is the 4th month. Some real shifts happening here with relationships, your future, what's in your heart, what do you desire? Moving on to Sunday, September 17th, the moon has transited into Libra, the cardinal air sign, symbolized by the scales, opposing the North Node, the karmic pathway of the soul or soul's purpose in the cardinal fire sign, symbolized by the ram, Leo. This is giving you the courage that you need in order to express yourself authentically, yet still gracefully in your close personal relationships, and also giving you the courage to release any codependent tendencies
Oh
or
boy.
people pleasing tendencies that are holding you back from truly being yourself. It's about North Node and Aries is pushing us to be ourselves, to be confident in who you are,
I
in what
mean,
you bring, and in having the courage to show up just as you are. The opposition to the moon is bringing that emotional sensitivity to relationships, where the relationships are like, you're like, well, I'm worried about being myself in this relationship, because if I act this way or that way, then this person's not going to like me. This person that I'm in relationship with. This is about releasing those tendencies and saying, this, I'm going to be who I am. I'm not going to rub it in someone's face, but I'm just going to be who I am.
yeah.
And either this person who I'm in relationship with is going to accept me and appreciate me and encourage me to be myself, or they're not. And if not, then that's a codependent relationship where I am behaving a certain way because my relationship depends on me behaving a certain way that's inauthentic to myself in order to be in relationship with that person.
I have a friend who is a dancer and she's dating someone. He knows she's a dancer, but there's been like a lot of pushback like, "Oh, how long do you want to be a dancer for? Like,
Mm,
what if I pay your bills? Are you still going to want to
mm.
dance?" Well, like she has all these business ideas. Well, like just and I'm like, I don't know, like he seems really cool in a lot of ways, but like him questioning the dancing, and she does dance besides just stripping. It's like she's a really good dancer. Like she could have a career in it, like bigger than that. And it just seems like he's jealous and he
This
doesn't
is
want
like
to.
the same old story that we've heard 1,000 times where a guy wants to save a stripper.
And it's just like, bitch, are you going to pay my bills and then have no strings attached?
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
exactly.
Most people don't want to be a dancer their whole life. It's a very hard work, but I
Hmm.
don't also want someone to pay my bills and then I owe them.
Yes,
I owe them
exactly.
my life. Like,
Yeah.
no, like I need to have my own sustainable income and I need to, get to a point where other things are sustaining me, not just some other person.
Exactly.
And if you don't feel comfortable with that, it's like, it's just really hard to grasp. Like, I guess I'm not in the situation because there are so many girls that lie and don't tell people what they do for fear of their relationship won't be able to withstand it. And it's
Hmm.
just like, well, that just feels like a really big part of your life to lie about. I'm
Mm.
like, you're not out here doing these things for free. This person should feel lucky that they spend time with you for free when that's your career, is like intimacy and like connection. And it's just very like people aren't there doing hair and nails for free.
Yeah.
Like we're all working. Like what do you
Yes.
think this is? I'm over here partying. I'm not. Like
Yeah.
I'm tired. My body hurts. I'm exhausted from connecting with
Yeah.
people. Like I would
Right.
prefer to be with, a significant other chilling at home any day. But
Hmm.
anyways, the idea of
But
the
at what
code,
cost?
yeah, the codependency of being like, oh, I've actually never heard anyone say it in a way. It's like the relationship depends on you being a certain type of way. So it's like if you
Hmm.
decide to do things in a new way, whatever's been happening this week, you have some things you need to put out there. And it's like, and maybe here's some sort of like an ultimatum where you're like, this is my soul's purpose to be doing this type of thing. Are you along for the ride or are you not? Because I mean, growing up, I was always very shy until maybe I was like 16 because I had uh, started working, and I
Hmm.
felt like that was I got to just be a different version of myself, and I wasn't like locked into this little box like, oh, Ingrid's really quiet and she doesn't talk that much. Like I was able to just reinvent myself, and I felt like that was like
Mm.
really freeing to be like, oh, I could literally do that at any time. It doesn't matter if people don't like this new version of myself, or now like now I'm dancing, now I'm doing creative stuff, whatever it is in your life that's like new and different and feels scary to share. It's like, well, some people might not like it. They might not
Yeah.
care, or they might hate it and be like not supportive. Like there's so many options. So it is scary to put out a new version of yourself. Um, but that's life.
Mm.
That's just life, and we can't hold ourselves back and keep ourselves small to maintain the comfort.
Well, you're moving forward, and as you move forward through life, there's only so many people that you can fit in your vehicle with you, you know, and you're in the car and somebody wants to go right and you want to go left, then, you know, it's somebody's got to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're living
Someone
at the
else's life.
dependency of someone else. Yeah, exactly. You become
And that's where
dependent on them.
resentment, and that's where
Exactly.
resentment and comes
Exactly.
from.
Exactly. Awesome.
Well,
Awesome,
thank
Ingrid.
you. Thank
You're
you. Thank you so
welcome.
much, Scott.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll actually see you on Saturday because we're gonna have lunch.
Yes. Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I'm like, what day is it?
No,
when
it's
we can
canceled.
Thank you for listening to The Weekly Transit. Follow us on Instagram for daily updates about the planetary alignments and how to work with the energy. If this podcast is helping you navigate life more gracefully, please subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and share with your friends. If you're ready to go deeper, book a personal reading with Scott or sign up for his new moon, full moon class at theweeklytransit.com.
The Weekly Transit.